Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this evening's information session. So you want to be a teacher. When you look into the future, you envision yourself helping others gain the skills and knowledge that they need to be successful. A noble goal, and one that those that you see in front of me have also envisioned for themselves. I'm thrilled to be joined this evening by the chair and director of the education department, as well as a few students who are also involved in our MAT program. Together, they will illustrate what the program at Randolph has to offer, and they'll answer your questions. I'll allow them to get started in just a moment, but before I do, I'd like to take a minute to remind you that you can submit your questions live at any time using the Q&A function on the right side of your screen, or by submitting them to the email address that's listed in the details box below this event. So without further ado, Professor Woods, please take it away.
Hello, it's so great to be talking to those of you that want to be future teachers. My name is Schimmoeller and Woods, and I am the department chair here at Randolph College. Now, even though our emphasis is going to be on our graduate program, I want to tell you a little bit about our undergrad program. In our undergrad program, students may apply to just do 4 years and receive licensure at the end of that 4 years. You would apply usually during your sophomore year, the first semester or the second semester. There are a couple of opportunities that you can do that. And you can apply to the program and finish up your senior year, do your student teaching your senior year. But if you want to do our 1-year graduate program, and I emphasize that 1-year graduate program because so many institutions now, it's at least 2 years minimum. We like to save you some time. We like to save you some money by having our program 1 year. Now, I will tell you, it's intense. And I think if our students that are here tonight were to talk to you about it, they would tell you the same thing. But it's so rewarding when you finish in May and you've achieved your goal and you're ready to do teaching. You're ready to be a teacher, but not just a teacher with a graduate degree. Now, many school divisions now require that you have a master's degree. First off, I'm a former principal, so I still have a lot of principal friends that like to call Randolph College for quality teachers. And we are sure that we put out some of the best teachers anywhere. So principals call and want to know who we have in the area of maybe science or who we have for curricular studies, which is elementary education. And we are always so fortunate to have quality teachers that we can recommend for them. So that's another plus for our program because we have good connections with those out in the school divisions. So we hope that you will enjoy hearing from our grad students and things that they've experienced, like our action research and many different experiences that we have here. One thing about our undergraduate program, we have a lot of practicum experience. Students go into classrooms and get that experience day one. It's not a matter that you get to student teaching and wondering, what have I done to myself? You're going to know for sure what you've done because we give you all of these experiences. So we hope that you will consider Randolph, and I'm going to turn it over to one of my colleagues.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peggy Schimmoeller, and I have been at Randolph College for 21 years now. And I have been in New York, Ohio, as well as a teacher. And I must say that the Randolph program does prepare the students extremely well. When I teach my classes, there's one thing that I say to my students, that when you leave here, you need to be prepared to teach my children. I have 3 children, and if you're not qualified or prepared to teach them, then probably you need to find another line of work. We do prepare the students very well. We have very small classes because the program is intense and you work alongside faculty members throughout the entire program. That's one of our key components of our program. In addition to working very closely with faculty, not only in your coursework but in your research, you also work very closely with teachers in the field. We put our students in classrooms very early on in both the undergraduate program and the graduate program. So you're in the schools working with children and working with master experienced teachers. I'll tell you a little bit more about the graduate program as we progress, but I'd like the students to kind of introduce themselves and give you a little feel for the program as well.
Hi, my name is Clark Charlton, and I'm in the MAT program at Randolph. My area of licensure will be in special education. I became interested in the program at Randolph when I saw an ad in our local newspaper that said, "Teach what you love." I'm embarking on what I refer to as an encore career. I had a career in budget and finance and nonprofit finance for over 20 years, and I wanted to impart some of what I like to do to today's students. And let me just say a little bit about what Professor Woods mentioned. You do hit the ground running. You're in a classroom almost right away. And the difference now between how I felt in day one of my first semester and how I feel now, along with my classmates as an intern teacher, is unbelievable. The amount of confidence that we've been able to build, throughout this program. And also, my faculty to my right here mentioned that it's a one-year program. That is a tremendous opportunity. But in my case, because of some of my other commitments, I chose to do this part-time. And the school has been very flexible in allowing me to structure a program that allows me to meet my outside commitments as well as participate fully in the Randolph program. So I really could not have been happier here.
Hi, my name is Emily Dutton, and I'm in the grad program. I also did the undergrad program here at Randolph. I transferred in my junior year and was surprised right away at the small class culture and the relationships that you build with your professors. Since I did transfer in, I was nervous about being able to graduate on time and do student teaching, but the professors worked with me to be able to graduate in the 4 years and then go on and do the grad program. Since I had such a great experience in undergrad, I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else getting an education, and that is why I'm pursuing the grad program.
Hello, my name is Cameron Garrison, and I also went to undergrad here. Got my degree in biology, and I'm looking to teach high school biology. It's a great place.
Hi, my name is Olivia Groff, and I'm also in the graduate program here at Randolph. I'm pursuing a licensure in secondary English, and I also attended undergraduate here at Randolph College.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you all for sharing a little bit about yourselves. If you don't mind, we do have a few questions that have come in prior to the event as well as some that are coming in now, so I'll just go ahead and get started. And again, feel free to submit your questions throughout the webinar, and if there are questions left over at the end, I will be sure to connect you with some of the fine folks that you see in this evening's webinar. The first question that we have is an internship required? I know we touched on it briefly, but do you mind going into a little bit more detail about that?
Yes, an internship is required. Often colleges will call the internship experience student teaching. We refer to that as an internship in the schools because we really view our candidates as integral to the classroom. They're more than a student. They work alongside the teacher. They have the same role and responsibility as the licensed teacher in the classroom. In fact, our graduate students, if they go through the substitute training, can substitute in their assigned classroom if the teacher is out. In addition to the internship experience, though, our students also participate in field placements, or what we call practica classes. So those would be, it's kind of like a stepping stone course. So you would first work with small groups of children and move on to larger groups of children to get an experience a little bit more slowly before you're ready to jump into the intern teaching experience. The intern teaching experience is a full semester, full-time teaching, all day, every day, and you follow the schedule of the classroom teacher. So you could be at the school anywhere from 7:30 until 4:30 at night.
And one of the requirements for licensure is also that you have intern teaching. So that's part of the requirement.
Okay.
And I do want to just add to the licensure component. Randolph, we do hold national accreditation through TIAC. So we are one of the only schools in the area that does hold the TIAC national accreditation. We are also approved through the Virginia Department of Education. And we have reciprocity with all 50 states Guam, Puerto Rico, and the District of Columbia. So the license, the Virginia license, is transferable to all of those locations.
And one thing that they might want to know about, what does national accreditation mean? It means that our program has not only been compared with colleges throughout the state of Virginia, but it has been compared with colleges throughout the nation. So it's a very intense process that we've gone through, a 2-year process that we go through with an annual renewal of our accreditation. And so it's just comparing us with everybody around the nation and saying that we are as good as others around the nation. So we're pretty proud of that.
Great. Excellent. Well, let's see. One of the questions that has come up is sort of a 2-part question. So they wanted to know, are the students who went to Randolph, were you all exposed to student teaching prior to entering the MAT program? And for someone who wasn't, did you feel prepared for that experience to go directly into the classroom? So it's kind of to both sections, but I think it's an interesting.
As the professor said earlier, we are put in a lot of practicum placement. So in undergrad, I did not go through intern teaching, but I had multiple practicum experiences, which equivalent to some of the other colleges in the area, and talking to some of my friends, I feel like is close to some of the intern teaching placements that you'll get elsewhere. So I felt very confident going into intern teaching because of my practicum experience that I got in undergrad. We are still expected to write full lesson plans when we go in, and in undergrad we will practice those with the professors beforehand, so they make sure that you're prepared. They're going to go over the transitions and the different questions that you're going to get from your students during the lesson, so you're not just going in there waiting to fail. They're making sure that you actually are prepared. And that's one reason, like I said, that I went into the grad program, because I had such a great experience in undergrad with the small classrooms that you were able to get up and practice your lessons beforehand instead of just going into a classroom and not really knowing what to expect.
Yeah, I really think that the only difference between true intern teaching and the practicum experiences are that you're not in there every day for the practicums like you would be for intern teaching. Maybe going 3 times a week for 2 or 3 class periods, whereas intern teaching, you are in there every day, all day, teaching. But I think that the practicum experience is because we were held to such a high standard early on that it really has made intern teaching easier. It's not as intimidating once you've had the amount of practice that we are exposed to.
Well, I went to undergrad at Randolph College, but I did not have as much education experience as Emily or Cam. And I was very nervous coming into the program. The class part, that didn't faze me at all. But actually going into a classroom was something that I was pretty scared about, because I had 1 practicum placement my senior year. But coming in, I became very comfortable because I felt prepared. The first day going into a practicum in the graduate program was nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, I thought I can do this, and I knew I had people to turn to, both the faculty and my classmates. So it's been a great experience for me.
Well, I think it's been a great experience as well. Just to kind of capitalize or expand on what my classmates have said, the practicum experiences were fantastic. The method classes that we took prior to being in the classroom as an intern teacher were spot on. They gave us the tools that were necessary for us to do a good job. And what's kind of cool about the way they teach it at Randolph is that the faculty continues to, as they teach our classes, they use methods and techniques that they would expect us to use in our classroom, so we can see those firsthand, how they work, how they might not work, how we can kind of customize them for our own needs. Learning how to do the lesson plan and continuing to practice that before we get into our intern teaching situation was very helpful. And then just the support that we get while we're intern teaching. Our clinical supervisor, who is the teacher whose classroom we're in, is very helpful. We sit down every afternoon and talk about what we did during the day and what went well, what went right, what might have gone wrong, suggestions for how to improve. Our college supervisors, who in my case is a very experienced administrator, He and I create a good relationship. I can send him emails and ask him questions about things that I'm doing. He's in my classroom at least once a week. So there's that constant support and feedback that we get ongoing.
That's great. Excellent. So who can apply for the MAT program?
Really, anyone interested in teaching may apply. If you have a undergraduate degree in one of what we call the core areas, so English, history, mathematics, science, and you want to teach in the secondary school, you have to have a major in that area. So if you want to teach biology, you need to have a major in biology. Now, there's a caveat to that. Let's say that you majored in biology, but you took a lot of physics. So you can come into the program, get a license in biology, take the physics Praxis 2 exam, and then also get licensed in physics as well, right along with your biology license. Anyone who's interested in teaching science and math, science and mathematics are considered a critical shortage area, and we are looking for good science and math teachers. I probably get a phone call once every other week. Local school divisions seeking chemistry, physics, and mathematics teachers. They really are looking for good teachers, and they will give Randolph a call because they know that the students here are well prepared to go into the classroom. They know their subject matter well, and they know their pedagogy well. They know how to teach, and they know how to instruct. Students who want to teach at the elementary level, that's a little bit more difficult because you have to have the core content in your background. So you have to have 2 science classes, 2 mathematics classes, ancient history, U.S. history, geography. You have to have a breadth of knowledge in the liberal arts. So Randolph is a great place for that because you get a very good understanding of teaching the liberal arts, because that's what teachers do in public schools, is we are master teachers of the liberal arts. And we focus on that at Randolph, and our students really capitalize on that particular background. The special education degree does not require a certain undergraduate degree. So any degree, you can come in and get the special education license because it's a little bit more specialized in technique and working with students with disabilities.
The next participant would like to know, will this program license me in other states other than Virginia?
As I mentioned before, yes, we have reciprocity with all 50 states, DC, Guam, and Puerto Rico. Sometimes you do have to, what we recommend to students, if you want to say teach in Maryland, we require that they contact the Maryland Department of Education and say, I have a Virginia license. Is there anything in addition that I need to do for the Maryland license? Maryland will accept the Virginia license, but they require their teachers to take the Maryland teaching exam because it's different than the Virginia exam. So once they take that, then they have the full license in Maryland.
And so can you just kind of highlight briefly the benefits of having a master's degree? I know you've talked about you can have the licensure or the master's. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think having a master's degree now, we went back with No Child Left Behind. We talked about the highly qualified teacher. And a lot of school divisions identify a highly qualified teacher as someone with a master's degree. So a lot of school divisions, when they are looking for teachers in the spring, they will not interview anyone that does not have a master's degree now. They want someone that has the highest qualifications, the background for methodology and pedagogy. They are looking for top-notch teachers. And when it says that you have a graduate degree, that sort of makes their ears perk up and they start looking at you a little closer with that. And I think it's just something good to have. And another little quality, not that anybody's looking, but most school divisions pay you extra money. I was talking to a school division person just the other day, they pay $3,000 extra for having a graduate degree. So that's always a plus for a new teacher coming out for an entry-level salary to get that extra bonus there at the beginning.
Great. What if I don't want to do special education or curriculum and instruction? Will a graduate degree from Randolph College help me?
That's a very good question. I have had some students that come into the grad program and they'll say, I'm not really interested in teaching, but I've been looking at jobs at a textbook company, and the textbook company wants me to have pedagogical background so that I can evaluate textbooks that are used in schools more appropriately. So I've had a student that did that. One of our students actually works at NASA, and she does educational program for NASA. And she's been doing that for about 7 years now, and she went through our program as well. So it gives you the skills that are easily transferable to other types of careers. Out there, you do a lot of writing. So you leave here knowing how to write and knowing how to communicate. All of our students do a formal presentation of their research. So they work on public speaking, which is a very important skill for teachers to have, as well as social interactions. And one of the things that we do highlight in our program is we're not just preparing students to go into the classroom. Of course, that's one focus. But we're also preparing students to become leaders in their school communities and in their communities at large, and to really work for social justice out in their communities.
Excellent. Let's see. Another question that was asked is, what are the steps to apply and how should I do so? And is financial aid available? Or some kind of down to the nitty-gritty questions here.
Well, if you're applying to the undergraduate program, and I'll let my colleague talk about the graduate program, but if you're applying to the undergraduate program, as I said earlier, there are 2 times during the year that you can apply. One is in October and one time is in February. They have an application process, a checklist that they have to have. They have to have references. Of course, they have to have their GPA up to standard in any coursework that they're taking here on campus in the education classes as well as other classes. And they have to write a short essay about why they want to become a teacher. And of course, we look at that essay to see the sincerity of the applicant. We also look at how well it's written, because when we're putting teachers out there, we want them to be able not only to speak and to do things in the classroom, but we want them to be able to write. And so we look at those qualities first off. And a committee here on campus, not just education faculty, but outside faculty also are on this committee. And they review the applications and determine whether the person is eligible. Another requirement is that they have to take Praxis Case now, which is an entry level test that students must take, and they have to take that prior to being admitted into the program also. That also enables them to be able to take coursework in the 300 level coursework in the education program, so that's another reason for applying to the program.
That was Praxis in lieu of the GRE, or is there any GRE requirement?
Yes.
There's no GRE requirement for the grad program, and we're really following the Duke model there. Teachers take a lot of exams, the teacher exams. You have to take the Praxis 2, the Virginia Communication and Literacy Assessment. If you're elementary, you have to take the reading for Virginia educators. So to add the GRE on top of that doesn't really give us a lot of additional information. Now, for entrance into the program at the graduate level, you do have to take entrance exams or have qualifying SAT or ACT scores. So you can substitute the Praxis Case exam, which is math, reading and writing, with SAT or ACT qualifying score. That SAT is 1100 and the ACT is 24, comprehensive score. So those can be substituted, but we do not require the GRE.
And if anyone is interested in that process, either undergrad or graduate level, if they go to the website, they can find that in the Teacher Education Handbook. Gives you all the process for doing that.
Excellent. Okay. And the last one is just kind of an open-ended question. What advice would you give for someone who is considering MAT programs or considering just education in general? So.
Well, I always say it, I've always wanted to be a teacher because I want a sound future, and there's no better way to ensure that we have a sound future unless we ourselves educate it. So I've always wanted to be a teacher for those reasons, and I really just have a good time, have an awesome time doing it. So
I think that it's important to make sure that you reach out to who you're going to be working with. So to reach out to those professors and talk to them and get a good grasp of whether or not you would fit into where you're looking for a master's program. I know at Randolph, I've made friendships with a bunch of my peers who you might not think that you would be friends with, but it's such a close-knit community, and you really have this engaging learning culture where everyone accepts each other, and you end up leaving with an education and friendships that I think will last for a lifetime, along with talking to my professors. I have sometimes said I think I've made better friendships with my professors than some of the students on campus, and they give us their cell phone numbers, emails. If you email at 11 o'clock at night, sometimes you'll get a response right away. So it's really an environment that allows you to create relationships that are going to be long lasting, and where it helps you grow as a person to be successful, not only in the education classroom, but just as a citizen. So I'm very proud that I got my degree at Randolph College, and I can't wait to go out and educate the world.
Well, I would suggest evaluating the alternatives, which I did. I looked at the other schools that were around the area, and for financial reasons and also for the flexibility that this program offered, this was the place for me to get my graduate degree. I also looked at the alternative of not going back to school and getting a provisional license and taking a couple of courses that allows you to be in a classroom. And thank goodness I did not do that. What I've learned over the past year and a half or so has taught me that this is something you really need to do before you become a teacher. And I'm very glad that I have done this.
Some advice that I would give to anyone looking to teach is to make sure you can pull in information from everyone. So for instance, Emily and Clark are in fields that I normally wouldn't associate with if it was a larger program. But since Randolph is so small, I'm able to hear about things going on in special education and elementary education and apply them to what I'm doing. And normally I wouldn't think of doing that, but it has been very helpful. And also what Emily said, make sure that you find a place where you can communicate with your professors and feel comfortable enough to tell them if you're having an issue or you need advice. And I think Randolph is a great place for that.
Great. All right. So if we don't have any last minute questions or any comments to add,
I'd like to add one comment.
Sure, absolutely.
Always. For anyone that's listening that would like to come and visit our classes, we certainly would like to invite you to come. We have students all the time that drop in. Gives you an idea of the sort of community that exists on our campus and in our classrooms, and we just welcome students to come in and see what we're like. And it sounds all peachy and rosy what we've told you, but if you come in and see what we're doing, you'll see it's actually just what these students are saying. So come see us.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us, and thank you all for making tonight possible. We can't thank you enough. This was some great information that was shared. And like I said before, if you do have an interest in connecting with any of the fine individuals who are part of this panel tonight, I'd be more than happy to do so. Simply reach out to me at the email address that is listed in the details box of this event. Again, thank you for joining us, and have a great night.